Most of the time, players who fight hooks generally swing inside out either too much or for too long. Traditional golf instruction for the last 30 to 40 years has taught people when they try and break a slice is to swing inside out as much as they can, but they don't know how to straighten it out once they get them inside out. Today, we're gonna show you some things that Stack and Tilt uses to get you to trace the arc and the follow through so that your path is not excessively inside out or inside out too long, so that you can hit your driver a lot higher and a lot straighter and take advantage of a lot of extra distance from just learning how to straighten out your curve. It's extremely simple. The ball hooks because the face is closed to the shaft. When the face is closed to the shaft and the path is moving excessively too far to the right, we create big hooks. Most golfers will instantly hold the club face open, trying not to hook it, and then they fight big old blocks or push slices. This isn't just a face problem, it's a path problem, and we have to learn how to trace the arc and the follow through, keep the path inside out long enough, but not so far into out to where you're gonna hit blocks and hooks. My name's TyKoon, and I've taught golf now for 20 years. If you're struggling with a hook off the tee, make sure to stick around to the end of the video to find out the best drill that the best golfers on the planet are using to fix their hooks. When we hit excessive hooks, the ball doesn't stay in the air very long. If you look at the screen behind me, I launched this ball at 12.2 degrees, which usually 12 to 13 for a decent golfer is really good, but the spin rate was so low that the ball dove out of the air and it only peaked at 31 feet. When I hit my best tee shots, they're usually between 100 and 115 feet where they peak. What I mean by tracing the arc is the follow through should trace an arc up and around my lead shoulder on the follow-through side. Too many golfers to stay inside out, they roll the face and the club head and the hands go outward away from their body. We're gonna teach you how to take your arms and your hands and move them around the body on an arc while learning how to maintain the club face. So this is a two-part problem. We have to keep the face slightly more open to the path, and we have to move the path around our body on an arc. Now, when we use the grid from Stack and Tilt, we have your club path indicated by these white sticks. We have the blue sticks indicating the path that our hands move around our body in the backswing, the downswing, and the follow through. Your hands and arms have to trace the blue line in the follow through while the club head traces its own arc. When we over release the club head or roll it, the hands are generally working away while the club head is working up and then around, and it typically crosses the hands. And when my grid in the follow through gets crossed up, that's usually a recipe to hit big screaming hooks. But just set your grid up with 5 alignment sticks or 5 golf clubs. Place my green stick here is gonna be directly under my left armpit. For a left-hander, it's gonna be under your right armpit. That's gonna signify the low point. That's gonna project down the center of the arc to the ground. I'm just gonna practice making swings where I try to match my arm angle to the blue stick on the ground in the backswing. I'm gonna stay inside it, and as soon as my hands get over the green stick, now my arm's gonna move inside the follow-through blue stick so that my hands and my arms can actually trace the arc. What you'll find is as soon as my hands start pulling around my body in an arc, my wrists start unhinging and they trace the white sticks. And as they continue moving around my shoulder, the club head travels along the white stick and the follow through, and I can watch my club face not roll to the left, but actually stay in a very neutral position. My favorite drill to do with people who hook the golf ball is to set up a diagonal 6-foot long alignment stick. You can get these at Home Depot for $5 or $6. They're down the same mailbox aisle that you'll find your alignment sticks that I tell you to go to all the time. But when I take my setup, this shaft in the ground needs to be pointed through the middle of my lead shoulder and about 10 to 12 inches off the shoulder. And what this stick is there for is it doesn't let me move my hands and my club shaft into out too much or too long, otherwise I'm gonna hit the stick. So it gives me an obstacle to swing around so that my arms can actually move around my body on the arc. This is going to help straighten out my swing path, and as long as I maintain the face relationship, I should hit the ball the straightest with my driver compared to that of my irons. The reason being is when we play the ball forward in our stance and we play it up here off our lead shoulder, this is the 0 line where my path is traveling the straightest at impact. If we play the ball behind it like an iron, we're hitting down, we're also swinging out to the right. If I played the ball in front of it, the path would work up and around me to the left. So by moving the ball to the 0 line and staying under this shaft in the ground, my path or swing direction should be relatively close to 0 to produce the smallest curves and the straightest golf shots. If you guys watch a lot of Champions Tour golf or a lot of live golf, you're going to see a lot of players on the driving range doing drills where they have a club shaft here, something on the ground to indicate where they want their hands and arms to swing, where they've got the face pointed. And you're going to see a lot of them, whether they're hitting draws or fades, with their right foot dropped back into what we call a bowler drill. Charles Howell III is one of my favorite golfers to watch on social media, and he works with a guy by the name of David Tarashi, who's a Stack and Tilt Network instructor, and they do this drill a lot. So the way we're going to practice this is we're going to set the club face up at our target. Ball's going to be off our lead shoulder, and I'm going to drop the right foot back so that my toe is just in line with the center to the back of the arch of my lead heel. In order to get under the stick, it's not a spinning of the hips. It's a shoulder rotation and the arms pulling forward and around the body on the arc that allows us to hit the ball straighter and control your path. It's not a spinning of the hips. That's usually going to send the path too far out to in, and it's going to give you low point problems as well as potentially hurt you as you age. That's why I don't teach people to do that. So we're going to start slow with this, and we're going to make just a series of practice swings first. Always start without a golf ball. Short back swings. You can use the arc on the ground to trace it and then stay underneath it. And I like to stop here with my arms straight so that I can see where they're moving. Ideally, your hands and your elbow would be behind your left shoulder. Your elbow will slightly bend eventually, but for the most part, I want it as wide as you can. I don't want it up here and folding around your shoulder. So we make practice swings forward, getting that position and making sure that your club face doesn't look like this. If we roll our hands over and the face is pointed down to the ground too much, it's usually an indicator of watching the ball fly too far to the left. So then I start off hitting short shots. Right foot's back, face is straight. We're going to trace the arc with a short backswing, trace the arc with a short follow through. And our goal here is to actually hit a ball that flies really straight or even cuts just a tiny bit to avoid the hook. Kind of like that. That ball started really straight and it cut just a little bit. Now, if you look at my swing path, I actually swung almost at 0 degrees. I didn't swing excessively inside out. I swung very straight. As you get more comfortable with this and you can miss the stick, we can slowly start ramping the speed up, stopping at shoulder high or P9. And when I start ramping the speed up, that becomes my ball flight. Very tiny draw, but very straight with very little curve. This is the drill that I spend the most amount of time working on when I'm hooking the golf ball. This allows me to control my path and my exit, and it helps me hit the ball higher with less effort. The other benefit of learning how to trace the arc with your arms is your primary source of power is your lead arm pulling down. Well, if my lead arm pulls down and my lower body's not spinning open, I can extend my legs. My arm's going to work forward. My body's also going to work up. That's the braking mechanism. And the arm's going to slingshot forward this way. So the more space I can create from my chest to my arm in the downswing, the faster I'm going to swing that golf club. So when I'm hitting the driver the straightest, I'm usually always swinging it faster. And I can usually get above 110 miles an hour and hit the ball a lot further. So the follow-through checkpoints that you need to pay attention to. When we get to P9 in the follow-through, your hands need to be in the middle of your body. Your club head needs to be slightly to the right of your hands, and the face needs to point up slightly. If this position hits little cuts, it needs to point slightly more left. If you're hooking it from this position, it needs to be more open. Use your ball flight as an indicator for where that checkpoint needs to be. But we don't want this, because this is going to create usually pull hooks and balls that don't stay in the air long enough to go straight enough. This shows that the hands are tracing the arc around the body and the shaft can actually hinge vertical. That's the proper release to hit the ball higher, further, and straighter with very little effort. If you fight hooks and you want to hit it straighter, make sure to do this bowler drill with the sticks in line so that you can practice tracing the arc. Make sure to comment hook below if this video worked for you, and then check out the playlist below. It's going to show you all my driver tips from setup, hitting it further, hitting it higher, hitting it straighter in all 5 of these videos below. Also, if you want personal instruction, make sure to check out my Patreon server for online lessons as well as master courses, or check out my website here to book in-person lessons as well. Another way you can find me that's new to the channel is an app called Golf Live. You can find me through the Golf Live app, and you can actually request swing analysis or buy virtual lessons from there. It's a great app, very easy to use, and very affordable to the average golfer. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe below. Smash the hype button if you can. That helps me send my content out to everybody all over the world at no cost to you. Helps me put out more content on a weekly basis. I look forward to helping you guys next week. We'll see you next time on the Golf TyKoon.